I'm hoping that everyone can hear me okay. Having a little potato problems this afternoon. So if I could just get a little bit of a mic check just to make sure that you guys can hear me. Um, Hello to Randy and Sandy and Arcanix and T King. Nice to see you again. And always grateful, always great to see you. Hey Aaron, nice to see you too. I'm hoping that there's clear sound. So yeah, we are going to talk about murder with the Murdaugh murders today. And I got to tell you, you had to turn me up for a change. Usually I'm so damn loud. but, but hey, that's let me just check it a little bit. Watch your eardrums there, Arcanix. Okay, thanks, Tiki. Hey, Quiz. I'm not muted, baby. I don't think so. I'm not. I hope I'm not. Hey, Jin. Nice to see you too. We got a mess to talk about today. I don't know if anybody's been following the Murdaugh murders, and yeah, that's plural because this is a mess. We just had an indictment this week on one set of murders, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going all the way back. I think I went all the way back to 2015. Unsolved cases in regards to the same man. He's connected somehow all the way through. Or should I say he's the only surviving person involved besides the other people who are already all in jail? This is one big mess. We're going to be talking about Alex Murdaugh and his indictment just on the 14th of this month in regards to the murder of his wife and his son from last year. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to have to start way back in the beginning and just talk. Let's talk a little bit about this family. This is a prominent family, from South Carolina, the 4th District. Okay, this is the members of the Murdaugh family. They've been serving in South Carolina for years. They were the top prosecutors and attorneys representing Beaufort, Jasper, Hampton, Allendale, and Colleton counties. I mean, all over South Carolina. Very prominent family. Extremely prominent family. I agree. Always. This your neck of the wood, love, huh? I mean, you do know a bit, I'm sure, about this case, too. I'm going to pull up. I do have a little bit of photos here for you, too. Let's see. These are the most prominent members left. First of all, this is Alex. Let me introduce you to the prime suspect, Alex Murdaugh, currently in waiting jail for his next sentencing. And yeah, I say next because he's been indicted. This will be his 4th indictment. He's pending trial on all of these. Okay. Yeah, I said 4. Not hallucinating. I actually slept. I did say 4. That's how messy this is. While he's been sitting in jail, more and more comes up, and they keep adding indictments. We've got fraud. We've got a disentangled law firm. We've got a housekeeper who mysteriously died. We have his son's friends who have passed on. We've got a boating accident. We've got messing around with law enforcement and paying off people. We've got embezzlement. We've got insurance fraud, money laundering. We've got the son that is actually put up on charges for the death in the boating accident. And then 3 days later, we have the murder of both the mother and the son. And yeah, I said murder. It is indictment for murder. And in between all that, we have this man claiming to be an opioid addict for 20 years. After being indicted and losing his license, not able to practice, being kicked out of the law firm, being sued by the law firm. Yeah, sometime in 2021, he even fakes a shooting at him. There's a whole plot there too. But that's just the little brief nuggets. We'll get into the details as we go. But yeah, sounds like a hot mess, doesn't it? Hello, Grace. Welcome. Welcome to the Murdaugh party. Buckle up. Buckle up, everybody. This one's rough. I'm gonna only go over a timeline today. First, these is what he was indicted for on July 14th. This is Alex in different days. Looks a bit different, doesn't he? That is his son Paul and his wife Margaret. Yep, it was an accident or a boating. Well, it was a boat, but it is a boating accident or a boating accident. It's a boating accident. I don't know. They both sound the same to me. Yeah, he sounds like a wonderful person, doesn't he? Yeah. I'm telling you, not very good. All right. This is the family, prominent family, like I said. Very, very prominent, okay? I'm going to talk about, yeah. For almost a century, a member of this Murdaugh family has held the title of the 14th Circuit Solicitor, covering 5 South Carolina counties, okay? And the function of a solicitor, in case you don't know, in South Carolina is the same as the people's attorney or the prosecutor or a district attorney in other states, and that is to prosecute criminal cases, okay? Just so that you understand what that position is there. As soon as the position of solicitor became an elected one way back in 1920, Hampton attorney Randolph Murdaugh Sr. was chosen for the job. Now, Mr. Randolph Murdaugh was actually killed in a train accident in 1940, and then he was succeeded by his son, Randolph Buster Murdaugh, who held that position until his retirement in 1986. Once elected, they stay fast. They don't go anywhere. This family is so politically connected and so well respected in the area. That is why this case is so salacious. Okay. Buster's son, Randolph Murdaugh III, was then elected and served until 2005. His influence was not just limited to the circuit. He as a solicitor in South Carolina, they are political animals. This is coming from Mikowski, who was also speaking for the county himself. As solicitors in South Carolina are political animals, they necessarily have political bonds that they maintain. And I think that used to be a lot more important when Buster was coming up than it is now. Back in 2005, they are saying there was a lot of influence by the family and their political connections spread throughout. This family extended beyond lawyering. They had a powerful law firm, yes. And it was called, I'm going to say briefly, PMPED. That's what it's abbreviated in all of the news reports everywhere. And that stands for Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Etzroth, and Dietrich. No longer named that, but we'll get to that later. That law firm was some really fine lawyers, and they all have wonderful reputations. Very huge in the area. The law firm. The connections, if you were represented by them or if they came after you, it was a big deal. Okay. Well, it happens that Randolph III, who had this prosecutor position, so to speak, in the office, well, he is the father of Alex Murdaugh. Okay. Alex no longer has anything to do with this law firm, but his brother Randolph is still there. Alex has several brothers, by the way. Despite tragedies that have recently surrounded this family, the Murdaugh name is still in the national spotlight. They do believe, though, that this prominent law firm will survive because the reputation was so intact. You know, what they say, one bad apple? Yeah. But anyway, I think it runs a little deeper in that. The guys are good at that law firm that do what they do. It is more than just the Murdaughs in that law firm, very prominent. However, there are quite a few of them that have been arrested, but we'll get that later. All right, so that family is definitely well connected. That we can say. Mhm. Right. Murdaugh himself, Alex Murdaugh, from now, when I say Murdaugh, I'll be referring to Alex, okay? Unless I mention another family name. Because look at all of those titles there of newspapers. He is so entrenched in so much drama going forward, it's not even funny. It's not It's no wonder that his law firm decided to sue him in October. I'll tell you about the charges later. But in October of 2021, he got sued by his own law firm. Oh, he'd previously been kicked out, of course. But now he's being sued. They go out and they get rid of him officially through all legal ties as of the end of December. And then in January, they say they go and they change their name to Parker Law Group. They want nothing to do with the Murdaugh name anymore. Yes, in the land of murder, where the where the shadow side. Every time I say murder, it sounds like I'm saying murder. And you know what? I could be, because here are the things. We're gonna start on this timeline now. This young man, the first mysterious case. Okay. In July 8th of 2015, Stephen Smith, this young man, 19 years old, was found dead on a Sandy Run road in Hampton County. No arrest was ever made, but that road runs right by the Murdaugh house. There's speculation and rumor as to whether or not the Murdaughs had anything to do with it. Okay. Recently, at the end of, let's say, like September of 2021, his mother came out with another expose asking for more information to come forward. It's been quite some time. The mother, Sandy Smith, of course, she wakes up every day wondering what happened. It's been a long time, and that case is still not settled. Okay. It was apparent that he was shot in the head. Then it turned into a hit and run, and then it was just that he was beat up. The story kept changing back in 2015 when his body was found, but the official cause of death at the time was that Smith died from a hit and run, and his mother couldn't believe it. 6 years later, no arrests were made. This was at the time of her interview. Since then, there's been charges. In June, following the shooting deaths of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh in 2021 in nearby Colleton County, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division announced that we were going to reopen this case on Stephen Smith because in a statement, they decided that the death did look suspicious, and based on information that they gathered during the recent murder investigation, in other words, when they went and found the bodies of the wife and the son, this case from 2015 cracked wide open, because apparently they found some stuff out during the interviews of the family and during all the investigation and the gathering of evidence. Well, that's not where we leave it. In 2018, February 2018, the housekeeper for Alex Murdaugh falls at their home on Moselle Road in Colleton County. She had served for more than 2 decades with the family as their housekeeper and their nanny. Unfortunately, 14 days later, Gloria Satterfield, 57 years old, dies from her injuries. And according to court documents, Alex tells the Satterfield sons that he was responsible and plans to sue himself so they are financially taken care of. The family say they never received any money. This becomes a problem for Alex because the family doesn't go away. He made that confession saying he was responsible. The case stays open for quite a while, but it goes into a lot of mess into the courts with insurance companies. Alex actually trying to process for the money to pay them, actually, for homeowners insurance, trying to get a wrongful death thing going through there. Okay, and with all of his illegal connections, he didn't get tried for anything at that period of time. But the money never turned up. The Satterfield sons, or anyone connected with Gloria Satterfield, never saw a dime. Gets curiouser. That was Stephen. This is Gloria. She's also gone. Brings us to the next one. And I apologize if you can hear my dogs. Ah, there is a dog walking down the street and they're saying hello. So this is actually bringing us next to the next death. Yes, I said death. Unfortunately, there's a boating accident February 24th of 2019. Mallory Beach, one of the boating participants, 19 years old, goes missing after a boat crash near Paris Island. There's a 911 call placed at the scene of Archer's Creek, okay? They don't find her for a week. March 3rd, they find the body. After a week worth, they discover the body in a marsh area near the Broad River boat landing in Beaufort County. Later that month, in March 2019, the Beach family, of course, files a wrongful death suit against Beaufort County Bar convenience store and two homeowners, all of whom the suit claims served Beach and her underage friends, which include both of the Murdaugh sons, okay, and several others. The lawsuit was later amended to name only Richard Alexander Alex Murdaugh Sr. and Parker's convenience store, because they decided, since the boys were underage and he provided that they could get the liquor, that he should be responsible. But the next month, after testimony from several people as to who was drinking, the underage son, Paul, is indicted on charges of boating under the influence and causing death, and 2 counts of boating under the influence causing great bodily injury for all of those who were injured in the boating accident. Paul gets indicted. May 6th, Paul, Alex's son, pleads not guilty to the charges against him in Mallory's death and in the boating incident. The court ordered mediation in the wrongful death suit, which appears to make the case bound for trial. Now, that happened in June. That happened on June 4th of 2021. They knew they were going to trial. They knew that there was going to be a wrongful death suit. They knew there was going to be large payoffs. And somehow or other, 3 days later, on June 7th of 2021, Alex Murdaugh, it gets confusing. I mean, he's a murderer, allegedly. Alex Murdaugh discovers the bodies of his son Paul and wife Maggie at their 1,700-acre hunting lodge on Moselle Road in Islington County. Islington in Collington County, I'm sorry. And he had placed a 911 call about 10 o'clock that night. In that call, he said, "I need the police and ambulance immediately. My wife and child have been shot badly." The Colleton County Sheriff's Office responded and secures the scene. South Carolina State Law Enforcement Division is contacted by 1028 to assist, and those agents arrived by 11:45. It was just siren after siren, say the neighbors and several of the family friends. The whole place lit up like a Christmas tree. On June 8th, the day after, authorities confirm the identities, make the announcement that it is Margaret and Paul, and refer to the incident as a double homicide, a wrongful death. It was murder. However, they say there's no threat to the public. Carries on. Coroner decides that, after confirms and releases the information, that Paul and Maggie Murdaugh died from multiple gunshot wounds, and that the estimated time of death was somewhere between 9 and 9:30. A 24-hour dedicated tip line is then instituted by SLED, which is, the active agency that is working on all of this. That is the Sheriff's Office, the South Carolina State Law Enforcement Division. Okay. Alex Murdaugh's brothers, towards the middle of the month, Randy and John Marvin, appear in an exclusive ABC news interview and ask for anyone with any information to come forward, saying that the family has many enemies and they've received threats and they're such a prominent family, and of course it must be somebody against the family that did such a heinous thing. It couldn't possibly be related to all the other cases that are going on, could it? What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm telling you, based on the information gathered in the Murdaugh investigation, SLED says it is looking into the 2015 death of Stephen Smith. They opened that case on June 23rd. They do not elaborate on the information that they received, except for to say that they discovered it during the investigation of the recent murders. The end of June 2021, the Murdaugh family, after this interview that they do with the, prominent news anchors, they announce a $100,000 reward to try to get someone to come forward to lead to the arrest in the double homicide, because obviously people are out to get the family. This is the common thread of the family's line as they keep saying this over and over again. No one's mentioning Alex at this point. But on July 14th, during a court hearing, Circuit Judge Bentley Price said he would review the redactions made to SLED's publicly released documents pertaining to the case in regards to the murders of Margaret and Paul. And if he felt they weren't legal, he would order more information released, because there was a mass dumping and a redaction. And everyone involved in Gloria Satterfield and actually in Stephen Smith's murder, what they're calling a hit and run, manslaughter or some type of murder, because he died from his injuries on the side of the road. Someone hit that young man and left him there. Now, it all gets a little crazy, because now they're starting to think that the Murdaugh family themselves have been using undue influence with the law enforcement and calling in favors, thinking that it took so long for Paul to be charged, and he wasn't even charged with murder or even manslaughter, when he was charged with a boating under the influence, much less than what he should have been charged if someone had died in his illegal actions. And we all know that you die during an illegal action, the offense goes up. It goes up. It gets compounded. Well, somehow or other, Paul wasn't. It didn't seem that way. So there's a lot of suspicion around all of the cases here. A lot of talk. You know how they talk. Everywhere. All right. Let's move our picture over. This is Paul. His arraignment for his charges. Not a happy camper at all. Young man, I believe. He was 20. He was younger at the time of the accident. This is Alex Murdaugh. His indictment. All this material starts coming up, which I can play for you at other dates, but there are numerous 911 calls, numerous interviews, lots of documents being leaked, some redacted, some changed, charges that should have been filed one way, but perhaps were made less. August 6th of 2021, People magazine decides to spotlight the double homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. And the Attorney General's office for South Carolina all of a sudden drops all charges against Paul Murdaugh in the death of Mallory Beach, because he has passed. The 14th Circuit Solicitor Duffy Stone on August 11th sends a letter to the South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson stating he intends to recuse himself from the investigations into the deaths of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. We got people running away from the case now. Are you starting to smell fish? Something not right here? Mm, I do. I definitely do. Mm. Following a Freedom of Information Act request, news agency WJCL receives photos and videos from the South Carolina Attorney General's office collected as evidence following the boat crash that killed Mallory Beach. They intend to make those public and start releasing articles starting to link what happened to Mallory in the boating accident and that whole incident and Paul into the new murders. Why was Paul shot? The PMPED law firm begins an investigation into Alex Murdaugh after finding a suspicious check on his desk on September 2nd of 2021. Took all this time. Now remember, in the background, we got Satterfield's sons getting ready to sue Alex, making big squawks everywhere by where's the money? Where's the money? It's been years. It's 2021 and they still haven't been paid from 2018. Murdaugh is confronted about accusations of taking money from the law firm, actually embezzlement, and he is asked to resign in September and does so that afternoon. And here's where it gets really crazy. Listen, the day after, Alex Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh, I'm sorry, Alex Murdaugh, I really got to get a grip with that. Alex Murdaugh, the alleged murderer, is all of a sudden shot in the head while supposedly changing a tire on the side of the road in Hampton County. Suspicious. He's hospitalized in Savannah and said to be conscious and speaking because apparently the shot in the head didn't do much. He's either got a thick skull or they missed. Okay. But he released a statement that day 2 days later saying that he was resigning from his law firm and going to enter rehab because he put out a long diatribe about how he's been an opioid addict for 20 years and that he wants to get a grip and everything's just too much for him, and that he had attempted suicide. However, it was very disappointing news anyway. Everyone is very disappointed in him and in all of the allegations that are coming forward about the family possibly interfering in charges that should be done. But when they found him, they did airlift him to the hospital and he seemed to be okay. But on September 8th, a couple of days later, South Carolina Supreme Court suspends Alex Murdaugh's law license based on the allegations of the absconding of the funds from his law firm. They weren't messing around. And then following a Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA, again, the news organization WJCLL receives an incident report from the sheriff's office regarding Alex Murdaugh's shooting. And we come to find out that Alex, he actually hired someone to shoot him. He hired Curtis Edward Smith, his drug dealer, or his alleged drug dealer. They are all still pending trial. Okay, all of these charges are still pending trials. Okay, at last count, in embezzlement alone, Alex Murdaugh had 50 counts, and then they added another 21, and 2 months later added another 23. Those are all just the criminal accounts of absconding money through the law firm in regards to Gloria Satterfield and other things going on in the law firm. This is dicey. He's not a good man. Curtis Edward Smith is also indicted as to supplying him with this medication, and there was actually admission by Alex Murdaugh as to being an addict, and that was their affiliation. He is arrested. Curtis Edward Smith is arrested September 14th of 2021 in connection to this assisted of Murdaugh. Okay. They said that Murdaugh admitted to this scheme to them and that he went forward with it with the excuse that what he was doing was setting it up so that his surviving son could collect a $10 million life insurance policy and not be left out in the cold without the rest of his family. Eh, this is getting so dicey. So dicey. Let me show you. This is Curtis. That's Curtis Smith. That around the time of the shooting in the head. Yep, he paid him to shoot him in the head. Oh, and by the way, he paid him with $2 million that he kind of stole from the law firm, from the Satterfield fund. And now the Satterfields are suing Curtis Smith too to get the money. So the Satterfield sons are suing a lot of people. They're suing the insurance company for paying Alex out of turn. They're suing Alex, of course, and his law firm, and they're suing Curtis Smith because he actually received some of the funds. So there's lawsuits everywhere. Like, I don't even have a box big enough to put the paper of all of this stuff that's going on here. I'm just going to read it online because I don't want to kill a forest. I'm telling you, it's too much. Absolutely. So much here. So Curtis Smith actually appeared via video conference in Colleton County Court for the charge of distribution of methamphetamine, and because it was his first offense, he was then able to post a $5,000 bond, and his next appearance was then set for November. That happened during September. He was then actually, when he was released on his bond, he was picked up and transferred to Hampton County to face charges in connection to the Murdaugh shooting. Alex Murdaugh is named as the chief defendant in the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the sons of longtime Murdaugh housekeeper and nanny Gloria Satterfield. So not only are they now after the money, they're saying that he contributed to her demise. He got more trouble. He should have just paid. This is getting worse and worse. That death was from 2018. So now, South Carolina, the law enforcement division announces that it's opening up a complete criminal investigation into Satterfield's death. Alex Murdaugh, upon hearing this, decides that he will surrender to authorities the following day in connection to insurance fraud charges so that no more has to happen about this. September 16th, he turned himself in and went into the detention center, and he was then given a $20,000 bond for the insurance fraud charges stemming from his attempted assisted suicide plot, and he is ordered to appear back in court on October 25th. He's got so many indictments on him at this point. All right. He's then given another $55,000 bond for his charges and released for other embezzlement charges. Okay. WJCLA provides a look at whether Alex Murdaugh received preferential treatment in court as well, and as well for the severity of, and what happened as far as the severity of that head wound, whether or not it was actually anything big. Wow, Shay. Oh, Shay says she may be able to attend this trial. That would be wonderful because this trial, if it's live, I'm streaming it. I hope it doesn't conflict with any other one I'm interested in. But this one, this is a mess. This is so many different things involved. I definitely want to find out which ones come live on this. I think only the murder ones will. I don't know if they're going to tie everything together or if they're all going to be separate, but I can't wait what happens. They all happened in the county, so they have the option of stringing them all together with the same judge. So we'll see, Connor Cook, who was aboard the boat the night that Mallory Beach was killed, way back, he files a lawsuit in Hampton County against Alex Murdaugh, son of Buster Murdaugh, as well as Gregory Parker Inc., the law firm, and Parker's employee. Oh no, Gregory Parker Inc. is actually the convenience store that sold the alcohol, and Parker's employee Tadia Cohen for their alleged roles in the crash. In other words, for supplying the alcohol that was consumed by the miners that led to the underage drinking and operating of the boat under the influence. There were false IDs presented. There were adults that were complicit in aiding it. And now there's a large lawsuit because many, the other people were injured. And Connor Cook was actually blamed at first, and it wasn't him. He had to get scrutinized and be embarrassed. He's also suffering. He knew Mallory. They were all friends. This is tragedy, and he was unduly put through the ringer. He wasn't even driving. Okay, but he tried to get hooked on him. And this is where they're saying that undue pressure by the prosecutor's office was led. Undue pressure. South Carolina Law Enforcement Division releases a statement saying agents have uncovered other potential crimes as part of their investigation into the double homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, and the FBI and U.S. Attorney's offices for the District of South Carolina have been contacted. This is bigger than it was before. Okay, that happened on September 23rd. In September 26th, of course, some of you may have seen the special that was done by JCLA called Murdaugh, Death and Deceit, focusing on everything that's happened to date as of last September. In paperwork that was filed at the end of September of 2021, the sons of Gloria Satterfield press charges and say they want Murdaugh arrested until he pays the money that they are owed from the settlement from their mother's death, wrongful death, which he contributed to. At the end of that month, an interview with Sandy Smith, Stephen Smith, the 19-year-old boy found on the side of the road, demised from a hit and run, was holding a fundraiser effort underway to finally get Stephen a headstone. He had gone all these years since 2015 with no headstone. It's coming to light what actually happened, and she's getting more and more. She's just reaching out to get more information and finally received the money that she was able to provide a resting place for her son. The other contributor, Curtis Edward Smith, to the shooting and the hit of Alex Murdaugh, gives an interview in which he says he feels betrayed by Alex Murdaugh and that he's considered Murdaugh a brother to him, and he can't believe he was treated so terribly. Remember, this is his drug dealer. You wonder, is there actually honor among thieves? Isn't that the saying? Can there be? Hey, Luke, welcome. Anyway, the end of September, a Murdaugh spokesman for the family and Alex releases a statement regarding the pending expiration of the $100,000 reward offer in the double homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. They claim, "We are disappointed that no one has stepped forward with any leads to solve the murder and claim the $100,000 reward. At this time, the family is evaluating what additional steps can be taken to solve the murders of Maggie and Paul." The end of September, regarding claims that a People magazine article made about problems in the marriage of Alex and Maggie, the Murdaugh family released another statement saying, "The most recent allegations by People magazine regarding the state of Maggie and Alex Murdaugh's marriage are totally inconsistent with what we have been told by friends and family members. Also, we have reviewed many years of text messages on Alex's phone, and the conversations between Alex and Maggie portray a very loving relationship. It is our hope that the media will continue to focus on covering the investigation of the person or people responsible for the murder of Maggie and Paul, and not reporting salacious stories with no credible sources connected to the Murdaugh family." The salacious stories are connected to the Murdaugh family. They involve all the sons, and they involve Alex directly. And all of them have the last name of Murdaugh. So I don't know why they're saying that these things are just rumor or gossip. Stephen Smith is dead. So is Gloria Satterfield. So is Mallory Beach. Money was absconded from the Murdaugh participating law firm. by Alex Murdaugh, same last name. Sorry, prominent family. You can pay for a lot of PR. This you can't sweep under the rug. This is big, way too big. So in October, knowing that this is way too big, the law firms filed suit against Alex, of course, or all the damages that he took money from them and clients for his own personal use. Okay. One of the lawyers of the firm responded saying it's a very sad development and that they hold the law firm in very high esteem. And he's pledged to cooperate with them forever. And this was Jim Griffin, just one of Alex's attorneys. He had many. In those court documents, Murdaugh is accused of plotting with friends, an attorney, and a banker to pocket money from Gloria Satterfield's $4.3 million wrongful death suit. The South Carolina Supreme Court suspends the law license of Beaufort County Attorney Corey Fleming, who is accused of helping Murdaugh funnel all the money from Satterfield's settlement. Alex Murdaugh, on October 14th of 2021, is taken into custody again, and upon his release from a drug rehabilitation facility that he was then located in Orlando. Because remember, after the attempted shooting in the head, he confessed to having the problem, and rather than, stay around to get indicted for all of these stuff, he got indicted and everything, and then just went into rehab. Well, and he stayed there for a while, and as soon as he got out, they took him into custody again. And they charged him with 2 counts of obtaining property by false pretenses in connection with Gloria Satterfield's wrongful death settlement. And he awaits extradition from Orlando, Florida, back to South Carolina. But that was back in October. He since then, of course, has come forward. The medical records are released of Alex Murdaugh's assisted suicide attempt in October, showing the detail and extent of his injuries, and also showing that it wasn't as bad as it seemed. He was lucky to survive, yes, but he did pay somebody to shoot him, and they didn't do as well a job. He survived. Alex Murdaugh appears in October in Richland County, South Carolina, after his extradition, for a bond hearing stemming from obtaining the property charges of the Satterfield case. Following an hour-long hearing, judge rules that Murdaugh will be held in custody pending a psychiatric evaluation because it appears that he is, not well. All right. At that time, after the actual evaluation, Alex Murdaugh has been denied bond pending his psychological evaluation. After that evaluation, he is declared that he will stay incarcerated as he is a danger to himself as well as others outside. All of the 911 calls are being released on the internet at this point. As much documentation as can by that news agency, WJCL. There are being documentaries done all over the place by this time. Many of you may see them. There's the Murdaugh podcast, the Murdaugh Murder podcast, which I've linked in our description below. Or you can find, if you just even put in the name, you're going to get inundated with so many articles. I do recommend you follow the WJCLU. It's local to the area. They have access to court documents. They have the best reporting as far as timeline goes and as far as who's involved. But it's a lot. There is definitely a lot there. So, I'd say start from the now and go backwards, because the articles coming out now are going to give you a history, if you're new to the case, of everything. Like I am, just giving you the time frame, and then we can go into it deeper as it progresses. Okay. In November, the judge comes forward and freezes all of Murdaugh's assets based on all of the indictments for all the wrongdoing in regards to money and embezzlement. They just freeze everything because there's so much money outstanding that's due not only to the Satterfields but to the partners, that they decided to freeze all the assets. So that if he starts selling property or anything like that, it's all put into a kitty when all this is settled down. They kind of are getting in geared for the trials on those, On November 4th of 2021, Alex Murdaugh and Curtis Edward Smith are indicted on multiple charges by the Hampton County Grand Jury in connection to the assisted suicide plot. Okay. Not only do they have the insurance fraud part of it, but it's also just illegal to do that. Oh, Alex Murdaugh is denied bond after his psychiatric evaluation. It finally came through during November. And this is the Judge Clifton Newman's statement. Circuit Judge Clifton Newman put out a statement stating, and I quote, "After considering the arguments of counsel, the evaluation submitted, then pending charges and other investigations, and the apparent character and mental condition of the defendant, Alex Murdaugh, the court finds that the defendant is a danger both to himself and his community, and he will stay behind. He is going to be denied bond and stay behind bars until his court cases are settled." In November, the estate of Gloria Satterfield reached a settlement with Palmetto State Bank, which had some of the funds in regards to the insurance transfer of at the money with Alex. They were able to access some of them, reached a settlement, and actually some justice for them, very little, though, based on the time frame and the suffering that they've had. That at least comes to somewhat of a close just for the sons. These are the brothers of Alex Murdaugh that keep coming out. These are all of the victims involved in this case. We've got Maggie and Paul. We've got Molly Beach, Gloria Satterfield, and Stephen Smith. That's why there's an S at the end of the murders. It's not just for his son, not just for his wife, but for everybody else that's involved in this too. You know, and feel for all of the families. You know, this man has touched so many people's lives. You wonder how there can be justice in the court for all of this. It is a big mess. Yeah. Also in November, towards the middle, the Satterfield family announces that a second and final settlement with the attorney, Corey Fleming, from the group, from his former law firm, Moss, Kuhn, and Fleming, and their professional liability insurance carrier. He was also contributory to the scam that Alex Murdaugh ran against the Satterfield family for the wrongful death. And this estate, they state, will continue pursuing other culpable parties who resist acceptance of responsibility for their part in the sordid matters of Alex Murdaugh. And that came from a written statement from Blant Richard, LLP, who represents the Satterfield family. They're not done. They say that everything got covered up. They say that their mother's murder was not investigated properly in the beginning. They say Alex covered it up. Alex profited from it. And they say he got help from other lawyers and county officials politically. It's a mess. This whole county is abuzz with this. Also in that November, remember I said about all those other criminal court counts of embezzlement? Well, that's when the indictment on Alex for the Gloria Satterfield wrongful death settlement. 30 criminal counts stemming from that investigation were announced by SLED. From that Attorney General at the time, November of 2021, the Attorney General was Alan Wilson. They start to release information about the fall, the 911 call, her injuries, how she died, what he reported. All of this starts to hit all the media. On December 2nd, Anthony Cook, one of the people on the boat the night Mallory Beach died, files a suit against Gregory Parker, Inc., Parker's Corporation, Parker's Kitchen, Taisha Cohen, and Alex Murdaugh in connection to the underage alcohol sold at the Akati Parker's location, and for Murdaugh allowing his son Paul to operate his boat despite being intoxicated. Now, remember, I think Paul is dead. He was shot in the head 3 days after he was indicted for charges in regards to this boating accident. His charges were dropped based on the fact of his demise. I mean, you can't sue him. If he's dead, you can't prosecute him. What are you going to do? He's done. And then they dropped it until now. Okay. It didn't get dropped by the families. It didn't get dropped by anybody on that boat, anybody else who was injured. It definitely wasn't dropped by Mallory Beach's family or anybody involved. They are suing everybody involved with the selling of that alcohol, everybody trying to cover it up. They're going for them all. Okay. And they're listing Alex Murdaugh as he gave the keys to those kids. And he should have known better. So now he's complicit in this one. Oh, he wasn't on the boat. The day after Anthony Cook files, the family of Mallory Beach files again against Gregory Parker and Parker Inc. and Parker's Corporation and all of the other defendants listed in Anthony Cook's case, claiming they were harassed by those who created fake social media accounts to affect ongoing civil procedures. Because remember, they already have a suit against them for wrongful death, for the boating accident in general. Now they're coming forward and claiming that people are interfering with the court case, with the charges, trying to harass them into settling, trying to harass them into not giving evidence or pursuing this matter any forward. This is how it starts to get really messy when there's a big political family involved. Also in December of 2021, the family of Gloria Satterfield decides to file suit against Bank of America for releasing the fund to Alex Murdaugh and not doing due diligence. And so they're going after them because it's easier to get the money from them than Alex, knowing that Alex has all this going on and he owes money to everybody. That's probably pretty smart. They found that they didn't do due diligence in releasing that money to Alex Murdaugh, so they're suing them for it. That case is still pending. Bland Richard LLP, representing the family of Gloria Satterfield, files suit also against Curtis Edward Smith. And that's what I told you, because he was paid $2 million over the span of 6 years for the drug addiction. Money that should have gone to the Satterfields, because they're finding out why Alex is absconding with all this money. His 20-year opioid addiction, and Curtis happened to be his dealer. And during that course of period, including up to the shooting, he received $2 million. They calculated, and that was their money. That's what they're claiming. Also in December, the Attorney General Alan Wilson announces the South Carolina State Grand Jury has issued 7 more indictments consisting of 21 new charges of absconding with funds against Alex Murdaugh. Remember, I told you it just keeps getting worse. In December, Alex is given a $7 million bond for charges stemming from those grand jury indictments. He doesn't have that kind of money. Attorneys representing Alex Murdaugh argue for his bond to be reduced so his family can pay it, because the family is still supporting him. In January, Dick Harpoolian states that Murdaugh is too poor to pay a phone bill. He needs to be given less of a bond in order to represent himself well. And during that court hearing, Thomas Moore, a lieutenant with the State Highway Patrol, said that Murdaugh stole $100,000 in insurance money from him after the trooper was hit by a car on the job and injured his neck, leading to a debilitating injury and monthly medical bills. The judge did not rule on a request to lower the bond, but said she would issue a written order. Beaufort attorney and longtime friend of Alex, Corey Fleming, then has his law license suspended by the Georgia Supreme Court following accusations that he also helped Murdaugh funnel money from Gloria Satterfield's wrongful death settlement. And of course, to no one's surprise, in the middle of January, request for Alex Murdaugh's reduced bond is denied by the judge. At the end of January, the South Carolina State Grand Jury indicted Alex Murdaugh on another 23 criminal charges, including breach of trust and computer crimes, all related to the law firm and the Satterfield case. Also in January of 2022, An attorney representing Mallory Beach's mother and two survivors of the deadly boat crash filed creditors' claim totaling over $65 million against the estates of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. The move prevents Alex Murdaugh from inheriting the Moselle property before claims are paid. They needed to do this in order that even though they froze the assets of Alex Murdaugh, because they froze them before he would have inherited anything from his wife or his sons, like the selling of the house or anything that was in their names, they wanted to make sure that all of that was frozen also, or at least would go towards a claim that is outstanding for all of these wrongful deaths. That Moselle property is listed at $3.9 million. Another survivor of the deadly boat crash from 2019, Morgan Doty, files a lawsuit in Hampton County against Parkers again, and Alex Murdaugh and Buster Murdaugh and the estates of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. Eric Bland, attorney for the Satterfield families, says he is targeting BB&T for negligence, that's the insurance company, as part of the wrongful death settlement of the longtime Murdaugh housekeeper. In March of 2021, this year, longtime friend and associate Corey Fleming is indicted on 18 charges involving the theft of more than $3 million in insurance from Gloria Satterfield's family. He's already had his license suspended. Now, he's facing charges with Alex Murdaugh. Fleming's bond is said is $100,000, and yet he remains in custody in Richland County. On May 4th of this year, the South Carolina State Grand Jury indicts again Alex Murdaugh, former bank CEO Russell Lucius Lafayette, and Corey Fleming on a total of 30 additional criminal charges, including breach of trust, conspiracy, and computer crime. I don't think this is just going to be some trial. I don't know how they're going to lick this all together. The end of May, Alex Murdaugh signs a confession of judgment, awarding the Satterfield family more than $4.3 million. In other words, he says, yes, I defrauded the insurance company. This is the amount of the settlement. That's everything that's due to the Satterfields. An attorney representing the Satterfield family confirms that the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division plans to exhume Gloria Satterfield's body as part of their investigation into her death, because now they're claiming Alex may have had something to do with him. On June 6th, Bland Richard LLP announces a press conference will take place on June 16th, announcing a foundation in Gloria Satterfield's honor, which will benefit Hampton County families to give back. On June 7th, 1 year has passed since the deaths of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, and yet no arrests by June 7th have been made in the double homicide investigation. On June 16th, the South Carolina Supreme Court announces it wants to revoke the law license of attorney Alex Murdaugh. Finally, how many indictments does it take to revoke a law license? I mean, is anybody keeping count? I should go back and count, but this is so lit. I'm telling you, I can't believe all this is true. The justices say there is overwhelming evidence the prominent attorney stole millions of dollars from his clients, even though more than 70 criminal charges against the prominent lawyer have not been resolved. I mean, he's indicted. I don't know. That should be enough, I think. Shady. I know. Innocent until proven guilty. I get it. But still, this is a lot. I don't think he can. I think maybe that's what they're preventing, Mrs. Cassandra. He cannot represent himself if he doesn't have a law license anymore. But then again, anyone can represent themselves, right? So maybe you're right. He just won't be doing, an official job of it. He will then have to get another attorney there to advise him. You know how the court will assign someone, He ran out of body parts an hour ago. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on with that, Jen. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. Anyway, also during June, the Satterfield family announced that they will use some of the settlement money to fund the creation of that foundation called Gloria's Gift, and that charity will provide Christmas gifts to all the Hampton County families that are in need. A really nice thing. Well, all the suffering that they've gone through, and they actually still want to give back based on all the support that they received. Okay, I think that's lovely. It's a little spot of a blessing or light in this whole mess. The end of June, the South Carolina Supreme Court says that Alex Murdaugh's attorney said they would not contest any arguments scheduled for a disbarment hearing. At that point, it canceled the schedule, the hearing that you are, once they say they want to disbar you or they want to take your license away, you are then scheduled for a hearing. Well, the attorneys came forward and said, hey, Alex isn't going to contest it. He knows this is a mess. Go ahead, take it. And so they canceled the hearing. And he's going to get disbarred. Okay. Also, all right. After the indictment on the slew of charges, you know, Alex Murdaugh and Curtis Edward are indicted on all of those charges after they were arrested, from criminal conspiracy to money laundering, like a whole huge mess. All right. We come up to July now, this month. And the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division informs the Murdaugh family members that they plan to charge Alex Murdaugh in the deaths of his wife and his son. Happened on July 12th of 2021. They said he's going to. And that day, South Carolina Supreme Court officially disbarred Murdaugh. He doesn't have a license to practice anymore. On July 14th, Alex Murdaugh is indicted on 2 counts of murder in the killing of his wife and son. That concludes where we are today. What a mess. What a mess. I don't know. Any questions? I mean, I'm going to go, of course, into this deeper and on another date. That's just the timeline. That took our hour. Just telling you what we're going to be talking about. That's a lot of indictments, I know. It is a lot of indictments. Yes, I agree, Arcanix. And also, Mrs. Cassandra, I also say who could kill their child. And isn't it suspicious that it was only a couple of days after he was indicted that they knew that he was going to go up on charges for this boating accident? Yeah. Yeah, Aaron, I wish my potato was actually cooperating and I could get it come up. This I don't know why my comments on. Oh, there you go. There you go, Aaron. You're the first one that would actually go up. I've been trying to get comments up, but yeah. Any questions? Yeah. How about what the fuck? I hear you, and I've been saying that for days as I've been reading this. Once the indictment came through, it's insane. It's absolutely so full. I mean, there's so many people that are involved, so many families that have been harmed, and one man is involved in all of these in some way. Now, I'm not going to say that he murdered Stephen Smith or that he obviously was not in the boat for the boating accident, but he is complicit in some way with that. Okay. And I don't know what happened to Gloria Satterfield, but she died on his property and he admitted that it was his fault and he was going to help them out right away. What does he mean by that? It was his fault. He was responsible. Does he mean only because it's his property and he has insurance? Or what, And then to come forward, this man with this 20-year opioid addiction, obviously not doing the right thing, but not having anything going on with his wife or anything else. Why is she dead too? Did she try to prevent him from going after the son? Did he get high and just act out in rage? Like multiple gunshot wounds. It's not like just one shot and walked away. Multiple gunshot wounds to both his wife and his son. And then what did they find in the house that would open up a murder investigation on Stephen Smith from 2015? 6 years earlier. I don't even know. I don't even know. Who could kill their child? At a guess, somebody whose child maybe knows too much about something and is likely to be offered a plea deal. Perhaps it was only a boating accident. He was, of an age that I'm sure he was scared to death to go to jail. His friend is dead, others are injured, and it's all going to be blamed on him now. But he didn't get charged with manslaughter, just with operating the boat. It was a lesser charge, downgraded. Family was really upset. Mm, I'm telling you. I think you're right, you know. But then why is the other son still alive? He was in the boat too. Buster, what about it? You know? Hmm? Yeah. I agree, Jin. This fits fuckery too. Huge bowl of spaghetti noodles. I'm telling you. Ah, Robski, I'm so happy to see you. It sounds like a very messy situation that has affected so many people. It has, and that is what is like legally it intrigues me because of all of the non-murder things that are involved, all of the embezzlement, all of the behind the scenes stuff going on with the drug charges and the dark seediness, a politically connected family covering a whole county, you know deeply politically entrenched, long ties, people just hiding things, changing things, redacted records, missing things. It's a mess, All of that intrigues me. But the harm to the families and gods, to the people who are dead, uh, the families that are suffering. I hear you, Robski. And good to see you, friend. Hmm. Maybe ballistic evidence. Is this what you mean? You mean ballistic evidence matching the prior incident? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that we are going to. I am in the process now of seeing if I can get a hold of any of this evidence. I'm going through the podcast. I'm going to see if the records are going to be available. In the South Carolina, I believe we got to do a paper. I don't think it's on Pacer, but I'm going to see, what they have available and whether they're connecting all the cases together. That's what I want to see is what cases are they connected together and what are they not. Okay. It is a huge box of fuck tangled crazy mess. That's the word. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you. What town again? It is in Collington. It's in Collington, I believe. But I can get you detail. You know what, Aaron? I'll send you some links. Okay. Um, Let me just see. Mm. I can tell you that in the indictment they listed that the wife was shot with a rifle and the son was shot with a shotgun. Hi, John. It's in Collington County, South Carolina. It goes by all the records are by the county, not by the town. That's where the family's from. That's where the law firm is. Oh, yeah. Everything's happening in Collleton County, South Carolina. There you go. Mm. No worries there, John. I'm glad you showed. Thank you. We're almost wrapping up, and we've gone over the whole timeline. Uh, the articles that I got a lot of the information from have been listed in the description, like I always do for you guys. I don't have the actual legal documents yet, but I will be creating some files of that for you. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in these. Feel free to DM me questions you have and what areas you'd like to concentrate the most, but we're going to take it apart piece by piece. Once I find out how many different law cases we have to cover. I mean, I just did the timeline on these based on a podcast, Mm. 4 hours. That's not that close, really. No, is it? Shay says it's pretty close to her though too, but I don't know which case is coming forward first. I don't know, but we're gonna stay on top of this one. It's going in the active file for sure, and I think you guys will agree it's a hot mess and worthy of a little bit of time. Arcanic says, honestly, I only knew about the wife's son murder and the one count of embezzlement. I had no idea it was so. I know, all the way back there. Neither did I, Arcanics. And let me tell you, my eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger as article after article after article came up. And then I started digging into files and listening to podcasts. And I'm telling you, my mouth has been open and my eyes have been wide. I'm like completely dehydrated. And it's all Alex Murdaugh's fault. Not in a good way. This is really bad. I can't believe, and I'm saying allegedly, these are all things he's been indicted for, but the embezzlement and all, losing your partners, all of that, all the people connected, I mean, he's definitely has a link somehow to all of it. How, that we will discover through the trials, I'm hoping. Well, let's just see. My question is there any connection between Alex Murdaugh and Lady G, Lindsey Graham? You know what? I hope so. If we could get Lindsey indicted too, I know, I'm sorry, politics and all, but can we just add a little humor? You know, I have to. This was rough. But if Lady G could get indicted in this, maybe with the law firm, maybe he got some of the money, maybe Alex Murdaugh donated to his campaign and they have to sue to get the money back. Anything, just anything. Why not, John? Like, why not? Robski, we miss you. Take all the time you need, but know that you're not alone. We're all here, and we enjoy your company very much when you can be here. And feel free to reach out anyway. You know, we always have an ear for you. And I'm glad to hear that you are getting there. It's good to know. Lone Wolf, hey, I think there is some Southern Mafia connection here happening, and I think Alex is at the center of it. I think Alex thinks he's Southern Mafia. I think he was a little too high to actually organize it properly. I mean, all those indictments, you know what that means to me? Not a very good thief. That means paper trail. That means, oh my God, they can link you to so much, because they're not just saying he stole the money. They're going 30 indictments, 21, 23, 30 more, 50 here. You know, can I get 100? Come on. Over 70 to date. Okay. That's some sloppy thievery. That's not a very good guy. That's not mafia. No, that's just a rich boy from a nice family that's well connected and just messed it all up. I'd say black sheep syndrome. I'd say never good enough syndrome. I'd say entitlement. Not a very good thief though. I don't know. That's all opinion, no. Everything's allegedly. All 70 of those indictments are alleged because nothing's been, he's not been actually successfully prosecuted yet. I know, John. If there's corruption in South Carolina, Lady G's walking near it, for sure. Yeah, Arcanics, I get it. I have great respect for the law, but when it comes to people like that, yeah, I hear you. You kind of want to, the lawyer, yo, lawyer. But thankfully, Alex Murdaugh is not a lawyer anymore, and neither are those people that helped him with the law degree. They're out too. So everyone involved with this is going to have some kind of justice. Anyone they can find, anyway. Yeah, it sounds like a rich shill that wanted all the dope they could get and found someone in the wrong trailer park who could help him get it. Exactly. Those people will make a point by killing family quick. Yeah, unfortunately. Yep, I do. And unfortunately, there's a lot of families that are wronged in this situation, and I really kind of feel for them. I don't know. I know. The kids were young. They were all minors. They weren't of drinking age. There was a lot of partying going on. There's multiple people involved. Two injured. One did. And both brothers were there. Paul and his other brother. They were both there. Obviously, there was fake IDs given. But it was Paul that was driving when the boating accident happened, and so he was the one indicted on charges of causing the accident and under the influence when he did, which were both offenses. They see the family as a unit, like a hive, and will kill others or each other in order to protect the overall structure. I don't know. I'm hoping that these Murdaughs aren't connected like some kind of legal mafia over there. They are politically connected. There's a long family. It was a respected family. The brothers keep pleading that nothing's going on, and they have their own careers and family to work back. So far, they have not been indicted in anything, and nobody's been looking at them or their family members. And I'm hoping it's only this one, Alex Murdaugh, that is actually unfortunately besmirched the whole family name, collapsed the law firm, damaged multiple families in Colleton County, everyone, his own family, only his surviving son. His other son is dead. His wife is dead. I can't imagine, you know. It's true. It's true. I know you don't need to be drunk if you're also high, but remember the sons weren't accused of those kind of medications. Only the father, Alex Murdaugh, has confessed to his addiction on that. Um, we'll have to see what is in the documents. Well, I don't know, Aaron, but you're from the area, so I'll go by what you say. That corruption is par for the course in South Carolina legal system. There was a federal investigation that involved the state police about a decade and a half back. I know, but in all states and law enforcement, there can be this stuff. But yeah, I get it. It doesn't help, does it, when we read cases as complicated and as in depth as this, with multiple things going on, where investigations into a body on the side of the road weren't done. A housekeeper death by falling and was just shoved under the rug, even though the family was complaining. And a boating accident involving the same family, just watered down to just the bare minimum of charges that they could get away with. It does look a little sus. Very sus, yeah. Welcome, Charlie. I'm just about wrapping up, but it's always nice to see you hit the chat. I hope you had a day, a better day. I hope you're cooling off now, because I know it's been hot, hot, hot where you are. I feel for you today. I'm pretty sure that the dynasty is directly related to some pretty dark stuff over there. Their patron was old enough to be the middle-aged in the mid-50s, if you catch my drift. Oh, okay. Well, we don't know. Let's say alleged, Lone. Let's say alleged, Lone Wolf. But yeah, I get it. I don't know. Oh, Charlie, don't tell me that you stood me up for Arwen again. Oh, my. I'm getting a complex. No problem. Nope, this is South Carolina. Definitely. Definitely South Carolina. It could be me because I have been calling him Murder instead of Murdaugh, and I could have mispronounced it or misspoke. And if so, I apologize, Arcanics. It's definitely South Carolina. Yeah. Yep. Well, on that, I think I'm going to wrap up if you guys don't have stood up. Arwen is on at 7 a.m. Oh, okay. Thank you. I feel better now. It's just the heat in your job then. Because, damn, if it was Arwen, we'd have to talk. I mean, I'd do something about that. I jest. Hey, Autistic Shield. Thank you so much for modding, and thank you to the rest of my mods, Aaron and Charlie, and always, and anybody else. Oh, and Arcanics, and anybody else that I missed who came in that I didn't get to speak to because I was reading and checking my notes a lot while I was trying to talk about this. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you came to hear about this damn case, and we're going to be hearing about this for a while. So thanks for your time today. I don't have anything scheduled until Thursday, which we have another January 6th congressional hearing, which is going to go off on prime time at 8 o'clock at night. Before that, I will be over in the chat at the Shills when we have Operation Starsky, which they do every Thursday, for Ukraine war updates, getting the information from boots on the ground, Operator Starsky, who helps with that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. And I will see you during the week. I can't guarantee you won't see me online because if things pop up, I'm definitely going to be there. I got an interesting thing in the works, a video in regards to the NBC documentary that came out in regards to Depp Heard, which really annoyed me. But stay tuned for that. It'll be coming soon. I hope you all have a pleasant evening, and I'll talk to you soon.